Hello, my lovely listeners. I had to act quickly because I had a moment of inspiration, and this time it came from Miles. Miles is a very attractive, hunky guy from Made in Chelsea. It's like a UK show, and he's attractive from my perspective, but I also think that he's Leo. And Leo energy, this warmth as a star sign. So star sign, his star sign is Leo. If I am not mistaken, but I might be mistaken. But anyway, he just reminds me of this Leo energy, of like a warmth on his good side, because actually he is what the very word that everyone uses now. He is a good, very good, amazing example of narcissist. And I was just listening to his podcast like a little bit on Instagram, and he was saying he grew up on Council Estate, which and he's now in Made in Chelsea, which is a show about a very wealthy or a well-off people who live in a very affluent area in London, if someone didn't watch it. And so he came from the very small house, apparently, and now is being in this show. And he goes through the girls, and he is quite... how to put that, he just doesn't seem like... So first he gets a really strong connection with a girl, like he falls in love, or he is charmed, and he is charming to them, and they fell for him very quickly, and he goes like full power. He like goes to the girl in Canada and then swoosh her off her feet, and or a girl, someone comes to London because they've been talking on the phone for ages, and then she comes to see him. And this kind of behavior, from my experience, this swooshing you off your feet, this telling you everything that you need to or want to hear, almost, not almost, just telling you everything you want to hear, is a one aspect of being a narcissist. And I don't want to go into that. There's a lot of programs and a lot of podcasts and a lot of YouTube channel. Now it seems like it's a favorite subject of many people. I went through my experience and my journey through this, and I'm still going through this. I thought I was cured. I thought I was not affected by anything. It happened a long time ago, and it's just all gone water under the mill. But something, I've just learned something, and this kind of brought a lot of stuff back. And I'm not gonna go into details just because I am it's funny things with podcasts, because if I am talking about my personal experience and obviously mentioning things, and I really am not ready for someone to, maybe from some people that I know, not that anyone really, I don't think, listens to this, but I am quite vulnerable, and I'm talking about my own experience, so I don't want anyone to kind of know or find out. And even when I talk to you and I think about this and I go through this in my mind, is like a diary. So I am talking about my experiences, and as if I was putting it on paper almost. It's quite personal and is quite something to put it out there in the world, and then I don't know what's going to happen with this information. So that's why I cannot give like a very specific information, and it's not really needed. It's just my experience with with a person who I personally classified as a narcissist, because the way of how I was feeling, the way how I was treated and talked to, the way I fall for this person, the way our relationship started, then progressed, then folded, the way it ended, the way I was behaving in this relationship. This all gave me kind of basis for then doing research. And funnily enough, as the law of attraction goes, the more you concentrate on something, the more things come to you. And for me, in that moment, it felt like when I started researching this, so basically I went on the internet when something happened, and I think it was probably some sort of gaslighting. One of the narcissistic traits is gaslighting, and I didn't know it was gaslighting back then. And I went on internet and I just put, because I was feeling like I am going crazy, like one reality is in front of me and then I am believing in something else, and I didn't know if I was making things up or that what was true, what wasn't, if there was a truth in that, because really it's always the truth for two people. And also, like with Miles, the narcissist is not born. Each child is born pure and with pure soul. Digressing that there is obviously some sort of karma, and we can believe that there is some sort of path that is kind of put out for us, to which our soul is agreeing, which I also believe. And it's I'm digressing again, but what I'm trying to say is that narcissists, although they choose to behave in some ways, they do it from their own pain, and they do it from their own upbringing, their own experience, and and sometimes obviously they can hurt people and be vicious and say really hurtful things and do it throughout their life, and really have put a very painful experience on other people. For them, it's the only way they know. It's the only way they feel they can survive. Their ego is very, very fragile as well, and they do everything to protect this ego. So that's why I don't want to say, oh, all the narcissists, this or that. There's also always with me a level of empathy and sympathy, and also understanding. Obviously, there are different levels of being a narcissist. If someone is really hurting someone physically, or I don't know, substantially stealing, then obviously that's like putting someone in a very dangerous situation physically. That's a different situation, and I just say run, and obviously this person very often should be just put in prison. But I don't talk about this. I'll talk about people who and obviously psychological hurt can be very big as well. And with me, I kind of knew what I was going through. I felt, now when I reflect back on this, I felt that there was something not right, but I so wanted this to be right. I so wanted, and it also felt familiar. And why it did feel familiar? Because I already experienced this, or a degree of that, in my own family. So only after a long time I recognized that I had this sort of treatment or feeling from one of my parents, and therefore I took this situation that I had with my parents and I put it on to that situation which I had in this relationship, which is totally different, because this is parent, this is partner, and it shouldn't be similar, but in a way how it made me feel and what I was receiving, and what a hole in my body, in my soul, it was feeding, which I thought it was, and it was to a degree. This put me in a position of really wanting for this to work, so it didn't. And I started to going back to my internet research. I just put in a Google search, basically, because there was no ChatGPT by then. I just put why do I feel like this if someone does something like that? And that's how it started bringing up things that I started research more and more. And then after the relationship broke off, I researched it more and more, and this what brought me to the subject, to the whole idea of narcissist, and further from that, of why empaths are loved so much by narcissists, and vice versa, how they two fit together, and then what makes you an empath, why you are an empath, and what are the traits of a narcissist, of an empath, and how it kind of goes through your life, that you might choose such a people, might attract such a people, not only in the form of partners, but also bosses, managers, friends, maybe, and also all the other spectrum of the degrees of narcissist. Obviously, if you say that the narcissist is someone who really loves themselves, which I don't think is a good description, we all, and some people say we all have a degree of narcissism in us, but this is different. This is the loving themselves so much part and protecting ourselves is not the same as being narcissist. That's my opinion. So in terms of, do we love, everyone loves ourselves? Yes, of course, it's natural. Would we look after ourselves first before other people? Yes, again, it's natural. In many situations, one of the situations is put your mask before others, right? Because only when you are fulfilled in yourself, if you have love for yourself, you can then love other people. So yes, Milo, and then Milo inspired me. Not Milo. Miles is his name. Miles inspired me to do this podcast because he was talking so passionately, and I love talking, and as you know, I am being very passionate. So he was talking so passionately on his podcast, and also he reminded me of the situation I am now, about the trigger of something that I thought was resolved, or something that I thought I accepted in terms of my relationship, but when I found out some details that I wasn't aware of, it triggered me so much, to the point that I lost one night's of sleep almost. So, and it's very interesting, and it made me obviously think about it, and on the more esoteric things was that the latest full eclipse, full moon, was about releasing some old patterns, and I was thinking, what old patterns do I have to release? I think I released everything. I was doing nothing but releasing for the last couple of months, years. I released my a lot of my thinking about who I am, how I function, about other people, about, first of all, my limitations, a lot of my fears, and I worked on it very hard. And then the universe was bringing me proofs that I did go through some things. And also with this full moon, I sat down and I pulled out some oracle cards, and surprise, one of the oracle cards came of, again, releasing old patterns and releasing old boundaries, something pathways, old karma, something like this. And this, again, I was thinking, what is there more to release? And then bam, that thing came, and I realized how much I was still attached to an idea of something, and now this thing is gone, is totally not here, and it takes me time again to release it, because what I found out is that I still had some thought forms and ideas about it, and I was still attached to the, for example, a thought that I'm gonna at some point maybe meet or see by chance this person, which is not gonna happen, or not gonna happen. I don't know how to say that, maybe easily or something. Again, I am just so cautious that someone can listen to this, but well, that's fine. So this is gone now, and I'm trying to understand why, what was the reason behind thinking about it. And I also talked to a psychologist, one of my friends. It was just a kind of brief conversation, but she actually said that for someone living abroad, living as an immigrant, it's hard to put the roots and to kind of feel the sense of home and belonging, and it does not matter that you are somewhere, you immigrated somewhere and you live there a long time. There is still this sense of kind of being in kind of two parts, and one part being your place where you were born, and the other part where you live now. And we all know, first, the idea is about being lonely or being by yourself, and there is a lot of talk, especially of obviously on social media, about people who are surrounded by other people and still feeling lonely or alone. Where is this coming from? But is when you are an immigrant, when your family is not necessarily based in the country that you are living in, and you made some friends who come and go very often as well, the idea of home and kind of belonging somewhere is very strong, and is something that is very attractive when someone else is providing this for you. What I'm trying to say is that if you attach this idea to a specific person and this person leaves, then it's not only the person leaving, but your but your home. And for me it was about creating this home within me, so that no one ever can take this home away from me, so that I am my own home. And I know that I still have kind of this disposition, or I can be likely attracted to the types of narcissists, because one reason is because, again, it's in my family, and this is a family member that I really love, and that's it. I cannot foresee, and I guess as well this was the reason that why I moved away, because I was hurt in this relationship of the family member, but also I crave this love so much, and even though this family member may be or having quite heavy traits of narcissist, still it's not to the point that you cannot kind of function together. It's still, there are still some very kind of good traits as well about this, and honest traits. So maybe in a kind of full description of narcissist is not, or maybe also the other theory that I have, that the narcissists that are, let's say 30, 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old nowadays in this date and time, are not the same as people who are 70 years old, 70, 80, 60 years old. The other era created other type of narcissists. The era, I mean, the times and the families and the social, economical times that they were growing up, made them into people they are now. And also the narcissist changed throughout time. So the narcissist who is 20, 30, 40 is not the same person as when they are 70, 80, because obviously they going into their last decades. It's so hard for me to say about the parents, the last decades of life. And I suppose then your outlook on life changes in some way, and your outlook to your family changes in some way. And I've heard from my family member things that I've never heard before, which I think are because they are older and because they think differently about their family and what they need from their family, on how, where they want them, or how they want to be seen, or how they want, where they want their family to be. So, and this is all my theories. I think they more or less have the cover in like a scientific studies, or people who really research that. This is what I observe, and I also know myself well enough to know that because of that I am still attracted. That was the word. I am still attracted. So and also because I have lots of Leo in my chart. That's another thing. In my astrological chart, in my astrological sign, I am Leo rising, and I have also Leo in Venus. And a Leo rising is kind of, I'd say, is a second after your sun sign. So it's quite a strong trait. And this, I feel, in me is very much suppressed. So therefore, I look for it in other people. And I'm not saying that Leos are narcissists, no. But sometimes I feel like this a little bit. So the shine and the grandiose and the beauty and the abundance and the light that shines on Leos, the Leos, and that I know in my life, that I know in my friends, sometimes kind of shine so strong that they don't see where other people are. They just spread their golden shine on everything, and I admire that. So therefore, And I'm attracted to that. And why is that? Because I would like this shine a little bit for myself, or I would like this to come a little bit from myself. I love to swim in that, and I love to be around people who imitate that, but also in the same time I get really tired with this. And this is my other kind of planets, another my kind of introvert slash extrovert two parts, because I am a Gemini. So I have those two sides, or even more sometimes than two. So if I am too long in the presence of someone who's got such a strong, shiny personality, I need to withdraw and go onto my own and kind of regain my powers, and then to be back. But I do crave that. I do crave this warmth. And if you want to check, if you are not familiar with charts and astrology like that, there is a really good site. It's called Cafe Astrology. This one I can recommend. And then when you put your time and so date of birth, your time of birth, if you know, and your town where you were born, and obviously country. And just a little tip, you sometimes you don't have to know the exact time, so you don't have to know if it was 10 a.m. or 10:30 or 11, but sometimes it's really important, because the moon and the rising sign change within minutes. So what I did, if I didn't know the exact time, because my mom was like, oh, I don't know, it was like 8 or 8:30 or 8:45. So I just put through this. So Cafe Astrology is for free. I just put 8:15, 8:25 and 45, and then that's how I checked that it didn't really change for any of these positions, so I was safe. But just says something about my mom. However, I do not remember the exact time of when my daughter was born. So yes, and I so I leave you with this a little thoughts, food for thought, and I hope you are all well, and I talk to you next time. Bye bye.